Okay, let's take a look at the handout here. We have a drill sheet that we'll want to take a peek at and see if there's any questions about the drill sheet here. The focus of this drill sheet is to actually get you to think about how the infinitive absolute forms differ from the other verbal conjugations. And also, the inflected meaning of the infinitive absolute is not going to be what we would really translate as in an actual sentence, because we don't know how it's being used, which of the four uses of the infinitive absolute it has. So we're just going to translate infinitive absolute forms as to blank and fill in the verb's meaning there. Okay, so I have the drill sheet up here. You should have had access to the answer key on the drill sheet. Are there any questions? You want to work through any of these just to practice anything? You want me to number them? Yeah, I guess I can number them. There we go. 1 through 11. All right. Any specific numbered questions? Number 6. Okay. Oh, 4 and 6. Okay. Yeah. Let's look at the forms here. I'll go ahead and make that a little bigger. We have a pay. Well, we've got our root letters here. Pay, kof, dalet. That's quite visible. But what we need to know is what that vowel is there. Is that a kametz or a kametz ketuf under the pay? What is that? Remember, anytime you have this sequence of a kametz symbol followed by a shava, the sign is ambiguous, right? You see a shava, you look to the right, you want to know, is that long or short? Well, it could be either one. So the next thing you do is you look to the left and you ask yourself, is there a metheg? If the answer is no on metheg, then the O of no tells you it's a kametz ketuf. Okay? If the answer is no, it's a kametz ketuf. So look over here. Is there a metheg next to that kametz symbol? Nope. So this is a kametz ketuf. So if it's a kametz ketuf, it's short. The shava is silent now. And what I have is the sound poke D. Poke D. So when I have the sound poke D, what am I looking at? I know I'm looking at an infinitive construct plus some pronominal suffix. Okay? Poke D is the form of the infinitive construct plus the pronominal suffix. Pekod, on the other hand, if you look at number 2, that's the form of the infinitive construct without a pronominal suffix. So it's pekod or poke D. What I need to identify is which pronominal suffix the Keurig yod is. That one's not too hard, is it? That's first common singular. So this is the verb pekad in the cal infinitive construct plus a 1cs pronominal suffix. And so my translation is going to be something like my appointing or visiting, or my act of appointing. Okay? Does that make sense, or does that help? Okay. Now, it was number 6. That was the other one. It's the exact same situation. That's a... Yep. It's poked. Yep. Okay, good. So, it's just a different pronoun. Number 9. So here we have nas. Where's my vowel? Isn't that just the dot for the scene? Okay, yeah, this is doing double duty, isn't it? This is both the scene and a holum following, and I can just write that one time. All right, so that dot is doing duty for both of these. So this is naso, naso. Kametz, holum. That looks like an infinitive absolute, doesn't it? Naso, naso. What are my root letters? Nun, sin, aleph. By the way, the cow perfect of this verb is nasa. And it means to lift, right? To take up, to lift. I do know some people, especially around here in Houston, think of NASA when they think of NASA. And in NASA, you're lifting up spacecraft. So maybe that'll help you. Naso is the infinitive absolute. Does the infinitive absolute have any attachments here? No. It's not supposed to have much of anything that it can attach to it. So I'm going to leave that blank. And then for our parsing purposes, we're just going to use to plus the verb's meaning to translate it. All right. Are there any other questions about number 9 there? Let me ask you just to look at number 10 here. We have Sha'ol. Sha'ol. My root letters are Shin, Aleph, Lamed. The vowel pattern is the vowel pattern for what? A-O. Yeah. That's the infinitive absolute. Good. And so, don't have anything attached to it. What does Sha'al mean? To ask. Good. Now look at number 11. I have the same kametz under Sheen, but I have a shurik with root 2 instead of a holum. You see shurik? What are you thinking? Yeah, that's got to be not the infinitive absolute. Infinitive absolute's got a holum here. This is a shurik. What form is that? That's right. It's the cow passive participle. What gender and number? Right. Participles with no ending are masculine singular. So how would I translate that? Yeah, asked. Asked or sought. Or sought for. Okay, good. All right. If there's no other questions on those, we can look at the translation exercises. Should we do that? Okay. What other questions do you have here on the Ross translation homework? Or which ones you want to go through? Okay, let's look at 4. And I'll read this out loud, and you can follow along. Number 4, Yatsa, Shomer, Hamachane, Yatso, Redof, Acharav. Okay, so I have Yatsa. That's one of my new verbs. What does it mean? Think Yahtzee. To go out. To go out. You guys just had Valentine's Day. I hope you Yatza'd with your wife too. Did you go out? So Yatsa, to go out. What is this? A cal perfect, imperfect, participle? What are we looking at? Yeah, it's a good old cal perfect with no ending. It's 3ms. So I'm looking for a singular subject. Do I have potentially a singular noun that could be the subject over here? Yes? No? What is a shomer? It's a watchman, yes. This is a kal participle, masculine singular of shamar, where the participle is functioning as a noun, a substantival use. A shomer is a watching one, which is also known as a watchman or a guard. Okay? Now, notice that shomer is followed by ha-machane. Shomer ha-machane. So this could be a construct chain. And so notice that there's no article on shomer, but it might be definite if it's in construct with a definite noun like ha-machane. In which case it would be something like what? The watchman of ha-machane? The camp. The watchman of the camp. And now I want to translate my verb. So perhaps this is the subject. The watchman of the camp, singular, yatzad, went out or departed. And then I have yatso. You see the kamet's under root 1, the holum with root 2. What verbal form does that look like? Yes, this is a kal infinitive absolute. So I have a main verb with a yatsa root and an infinitive absolute with sharing the yatsa root. Which use is this, the emphasis use or the complementary use? Emphasis. So this is a statement that is strengthened by the infinitive absolute. So how might you translate that? The watchman of the camp surely went out. And that doesn't mean that the watchman's name was Shirley. The watchman of the camp surely went out. It's definitely, indeed, went out. Okay, now that's the end of the affirmation or the statement of fact. Now what I have is a commandment in light of that reality. Radov acharav. What does radaf mean? The verb? To pursue. Notice I have a vocal shava under root 1, holum with root 2. There's two possibilities for this in Hebrew, aren't there? This could be the kal infinitive construct or the kal imperative to ms. Which one makes sense here? The imperative. The watchman of the camp surely departed, went out, pursue or chase, command, acharav. What's that? It's a preposition plus a pronoun. Yeah, it could be behind him, but when we're talking about movement, you know, it's going to be after. So chase after him. Okay, get on this trail. If I took this as the infinitive construct, it wouldn't make very good sense because infinitive constructs are dependent, and I need to have some kind of dependent grammatical relationship that this would be able to fit. Like, I'd need a preposition with this as the object of the preposition, or a lamed preposition, or something like that. This is just a new sentence, and if it's a new sentence, then that verb needs to be able to be a main verb and not a dependent form, like the infinitive construct is. So that's why I would go with an imperative. Okay, other questions? All right, let's look at number 9 here. Go ahead, was there another question or follow-up there?
I just got thrown off by the word order. The subject is way over, so it's after the direct object marker.
Yeah, that's right. So this whole thing, and there's our verb, or our noun shomer, which is the participle. The shomer Yisrael is the subject, you're right, of the verbs over here. All right. So That does happen sometimes. Sometimes the subject is delayed and you'll get lots of other things before that. Let's see. There's our main verb, yizkor. So what does that mean? Yeah, we'll remember. See the prefix yod here, so this is the Cal imperfect 3ms. So the Shomer Yisrael, which is the watchman of Israel, will remember et burrito. Look at that. He will remember burrito. Yes, he will remember his covenant. Now, without the zakor over here, that's what this would be. The watchman of Israel will remember his covenant. But notice, in addition to the main verb yizkor from zakar, I also have in the same root zakor with the long A and the holem vav. Clearly the Cal infinitive absolute. So it's going to strengthen this statement. So how would you translate that? The watchman of Israel will surely remember his covenant. That's a comforting thought. Number 5. Let's look at number 5. We have tishma'u et devarai v'shamor et mitzvotai. Look at tishmeru. What conjugation pattern is this? We can see 3 root letters, and we have prefixing and suffixing. So which conjugation is this? The Cal imperfect. And with the prefix tav and the shuruk, it's 2MP. 2MP. 3MP would have a yod with a shuruk at the end. Okay, so this is 2MP. So you plural will shema. Okay? You plural will shema. You will what? You will hear or listen to et devarai. Yeah, this is word. Now, the yod at the end tells me it's whose word? It's my. That's the 1CS pronoun. One more question. Is this one word or many words? This is plural. The first common singular pronominal suffix is a yod, and whether the noun is singular or plural is going to depend crucially on the vowel point right before the yod. Remember, if it's a Keurig before the yod, the noun is singular. If it's any other vowel before the yod, the noun is plural. So that is a plural form of davar. So you will listen to or hear my words. And my second clause is what kind of verb form? V'shamor. Shamor. That is an infinitive absolute. Now, does this infinitive absolute occur in the same clause as the preceding verb, and does it share the root letters of the preceding verb? No. This is shema with an ayin. This is shamar with a resh. Okay? So this is not the emphasis use because they're not sharing the same root. And it's not the complementary use because in a complementary use I have one main verb and 2 infinitive absolute forms, one of which shares the root letters. I don't have that at all here. So it's either the third or the fourth use. Now the third use was in sequence with, an infinitive absolute in sequence with a regular finite verb that bears the same nuance of it. And that's what we've got here. The imperfect used first, infinitive absolute will continue that imperfect verbal notion. And the person gender number of the preceding one as well, because we don't have a person gender number here. It's just the infinitive absolute. So you will hear and you will shamor, keep, et mitzvotai. What will you keep? My mitzvot. Commandments, plural. How do I know it's plural? Two reasons here. I have a non-Keurig before the yod, and I have the oath on mitzvot. All right. So does that make sense? Number 7. Let's look at number 7 here. I'll read this. Ha-zakor tizkuru oti bil kodchem et hamakom hazeh. All right. I have a ha here attached to the beginning of something. And what it's attached to is at the beginning of the sentence. Look at the vowel pointing on the ha. It's a compound shiva and no dagesh forte in the first consonant that I've attached it to. So is this the article hey or the interrogative hey? Yeah, that is interrogative. It's interrogative hey. And so this is asking a yes-no question then, isn't it? So let's bracket that out for a minute. Okay. I have zakor tizkaru. Do those two verb forms share the same 3 root letters? Yes. Which one of them is the main verb? The first one or the second one? The second. So the first one is what? Zakor. It's the infinitive absolute. So this is going to strengthen the main verb. The main verb is tizkaru. So how would you translate that? They or you, which one is it? Yes, it's you plural. Prefix tav, shirk at the end is you, masculine plural, 2MP. So you will remember. Now let's strengthen it with the zakor. You will surely remember. Now add the interrogative hey. Will you surely remember? Or will you really remember? Othi. What's that? Me. This is the direct object marker with one CS pronoun. So will you really remember me? Will you indeed remember me? Bil code chem. Bil code chem. What do we have here? Well, we actually have 3 items smashed together in this form. If you know your verbs well, you know that you have a verb lakad. What does that mean? To capture. And what I have is I have chem on the end and bet on the front. What kind of verbal form takes preposition bets on the front and pronominal suffixes on the back? Yes, infinitive constructs do that. Not infinitive absolute forms, but infinitives construct do. Okay? When I have a bet attached to an infinitive construct, I'm going to translate that bet how? While or when. Okay? It's temporal. While or when. So, will you really remember me when? Now I have a pronoun. I'm going to use that for my subject. When you, this is 2MP, you all, when you lakad, when you capture et hamakom hazeh. This is my direct object. When you capture what? The place, the zeh is this, the place of this, which is when you capture this place. This is a demonstrative that's attributive in its function. Which place? This place. Okay? Now, I'm not sure, was your big problem with the infinitive construct or with the infinitive absolute? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, If you think it's some other verb form, you're going to have a hard time making sense of attaching a preposition bet to it, because we don't attach the preposition bet to any other verb forms, do we? And this is not, and hear me clearly, this is not the personal ending tem, which is what you see on the cal perfect 2MP. This is the ending chem, not tem. Chem is a pronoun suffix, not a personal ending. And so when you see a pronoun suffix attached to a verbal root as well, then the clue is that you've got an infinitive construct. So both of those things, the bet preposition and the pronominal suffix, are significant clues that you've got an infinitive construct here. So translate the bet as when, translate the pronoun as the subject, and then the meaning of the verb. The time frame will be based on the context of the sentence. So if in the context of the sentence I have an imperfect here that's future, then I'm going to translate the infinitive probably with future semantics as well. So will you remember me? Indeed, will you remember me when you do such and such? Not when you did such and such. Sound good?
Dr. Mark,
Yes.
just to clarify, so are infinitive constructs the only verbal forms that take prepositions?
They are the only verbal forms that take prepositions, except for the rare occasion where you have a participle that might have a preposition bet. Okay? I could have participles that take a preposition bet if the participle is functioning as a noun. Okay? So let me give you an example. I'll take the participle shomer. Okay, since we've used that a few times. What is a shomer? Yeah, it's a participle. It's masculine singular. And if it's used as a noun substantively, then it means a watcher, right? One who watches. So, could I put a lamed preposition on a participle functioning as a noun? Well, absolutely, because since participles can function like nouns, then I can do with a participle whatever I could do with a noun, and I can attach a noun to a lamed preposition. To a watcher, okay? Le shomer, to a watcher. I could attach a bet preposition to a substantival participle, couldn't I? Be shomer would be not to a watcher, but in a watcher, or maybe with a watcher. I guarded the city with a watcher. Okay? So participles, because they can function like nouns, can take prepositions like bet and lamed. All right? But other verb forms like he ate or he captured, you wouldn't put a bet preposition on a verb like that. What would that mean? In he ate doesn't make sense. Or in he drank. Or in I will seek. Okay? You can't add a bet preposition to what's called a finite verb. Only to the non-finite verbs. And the non-finite verbs are infinitive construct and participle. Okay? We've learned the infinitive absolute's not finite either, but you can't attach a preposition to it, as we've said. So these are the only non-finite verb forms that a preposition can be attached to. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, good.
So could I modify that, say that infinitive constructs are the only verbal forms functioning as verbs that would take a preposition?
Well, The participle is still functioning as a verb, as is the infinitive construct, but in another sense, they're actually both functioning like nouns when they have prepositions attached to them. Because if I have a bet preposition here, this infinitive construct is technically the object of the preposition bet, isn't it? The infinitive is the object of the preposition. And that is a noun function. Normally, I have nouns acting as objects of the preposition. In Biloxi, right? In the city. In the hour. And so forth. So technically, when I have a bet preposition attached to an infinitive or participle, they're functioning like nouns, but they're verbal nouns. They're nouns that have verbal qualities. Yes, you're welcome. No worries. That's helpful. Helpful to ask about that. Any other questions here about the homework? Yeah, let's take a look at 8 here. So number 8, I have Samach ba'aronai, va'al tishkach shakoach et chasdo. Okay. I have first samach. So look at the vocal shava here under the scene. Which verbal forms in the cow take a vocal shava? There's 2 possibilities here. The cow what? Imperative and infinitive construct. So I now have to look at the second vowel. It's a pathak. Can the infinitive construct take a pathak for its theme vowel? No. The infinitive construct always has a holum, even if I have gutturals in play. Okay? So it can't be the infinitive construct. So the imperative is the only possibility I got. The personal ending is 0, which means in the imperative, it's what? Second masculine singular. Okay? If I'm commanding a you female, it's kirik yod. Y'all male is shurik, and female is na. Okay, for plural you. So this is the 0 ending is 2ms. So what does samach mean? Rejoice. So this is a command. Rejoice where? Ba'aronai. In the Lord. V'al tishkach. Look at all here. What kind of a particle is that? Yeah, it's a negative particle. What kind of verb forms does it negate? It negates volitional forms. Question for you. Does all ever negate imperative verb forms? No. If I want to tell somebody not to do something, I can't use the imperative and put all in front of it. I have to switch to the imperfect and put lo in front, or the jussive and put all in front. So I've got all here, so this must be a jussive, not an imperfect, and I have a prefix tav with no ending. That's 2ms, isn't it? And don't what? Al tishkach. What's shakach? It's one of our new verbs. Don't forget. Okay? So rejoice in Adonai and don't forget, dude. It's a 2ms. Now look at what I've got next after al tishkach, which is my main verb. I have sha koach. Sha koach. Does that vowel pattern look familiar to you? Yeah? That's my infinitive absolute. Does it share the same root as the main verb tishkach? Yes, it does. Shin kaf chet. So which use is this, the emphasis or complementary use? This is emphasis. So it's not just don't forget, but
By all means, never forget.
that's right. Don't be forgetting. All right? And indeed, or surely, do not forget. Et chasdo, don't forget what? Yeah, his loving kindness. There's chesed. The segelet chesed gets a full short vowel and a silent shava under the samic when I add the pronominal suffixes. So chesed becomes chasdo. Melech becomes malko for his king. So it's behaving the same way as some other segelet nouns we've seen. Okay, so there you go. Any questions about that? All right. Let's look at number 1 real quickly. Amar Hanavi means what? That's right, the prophet said. And then I have the quotation. Odeini fo. So this is ode plus which pronominal suffix? 1cs. Okay. So how am I going to translate this? I'm going to use my 1cs pronoun as the subject. I, what? Yeah, I am still here. I am still here. Okay, so we're going to use ode as still be as a copular idea. Okay. All right. Look at number 2. I have Shavot lo tishbot. Shavot lo tishbot. You see Shavot has Shavat as my root letters. Tishbot has Shavat as my root letters. Is this emphasis or complementary use of the infinitive absolute? Emphasis. When I have one verb and one infinitive absolute sharing the root, it's emphasis. So how am I going to translate this? Well, lo tishbot is you shall not rest. Shavot lo tishbot, you shall surely not rest. Okay? Strengthening the command here. All right, so just wanted to let you see a couple more examples of that use. Number 3, shamoa shamati. Both of these have the same roots as well. Shema and shema. One's the main verb. One's the infinitive absolute. A-o vowel pattern, just like shavot. So this is what? Emphasis or complementary use? Emphasis. Good. So shamati means who heard? Who's the T ending? I. That's the perfect 1cs. So I heard. Shamoa shamati. How would you translate that? Yes, I have surely heard. Or I surely did hear. I surely heard. Okay, good. All right. Well, let's stop the homework there.